You're listening to the ProgAxia podcast.
Hi everybody, it's Andy Phillips here and welcome to the ProgAxia podcast. And you can see I've got Antony from Karfagen with me. Hi Antony, how you doing?
Great. Nice to meet you, Andy, in this
It's
web.
really good to see you, mate, because
Yes.
over the last couple of years I've been listening to quite a lot of Karfagen, and thanks for sending over your album as well, Marshmallow Madness. Absolutely, sorry, Marshmallow Moon Dust, sorry.
Yeah, Marshmallow Madness. Yeah. Yeah,
I've got camel on the brain. I don't know why.
of course.
I've got camel on the brain.
Of course. Rain dances, yeah, Moon Madness, of course. Marshmallow Madness.
Marshmallow Madness, yeah. It's incredible music that you do, and that's why I wanted to get you on, because I think there's loads of people who love prog music that don't really know a lot of the new bands that are coming out. And I say new bands, but you know what prog fans are like. They're sort of stuck in the past. I'm as guilty as anybody else. I like my sort of my Camels and my Genesis and my Yes and my Rush and all the rest of it. And I think a lot of people don't really understand that there's a really huge amount of bands out there at the moment. I just did the 2020 best of 2020, which I included a couple of tracks for yours, which I want to talk about as well. But there is a really good scene out there in the moment, isn't there?
Of course. A lot of good prog bands now, but I do not have enough time. You know, sometimes it's not even possible to listen to all these new bands. You know, to discover them. So when 10 years ago I was so willing to reveal new bands, but nowadays I'm listening almost to all these bands that I have found 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Not
yeah. Well, there's a very good reason for that. I mean, you are a really busy guy. I mean, you're massively prolific. The amount of albums, I mean, 2 albums in 2020.
Yeah,
You got another album coming up.
Yeah, or even 3 albums.
3 albums in 2020. Oh, because your own solo album as well. So you're the mainstay behind Karfagen, aren't you? Give us a bit of a background of the band, when it started. Yeah, just a bit of history and how you got into it all.
Bit of history. Yeah, I've started thinking of music since I was a child. You know, first album I've heard. First prog album I've heard, it was Delicate Sound of Thunder by Pink Floyd.
Right.
And I was listening it. I think I was 7, 8 years old, and I was listening in headphones, and I thought, wow, what an atmosphere. And my first opinion, my first thought was that I want to create this atmosphere. I want people to spend some time just listening to this atmosphere, this sort of atmosphere, like Pink Floyd did in their album. So, and then bit by bit, my father bought me my first synthesizer, Yamaha PSR 210, and I've gathered my band, a school band. So I've started writing music at school, and at 14, when I was 14 years old, I've recorded my own tape, and I played on guitars and played on synthesizers, and I used 2 tape machines to overdub it. So it was a miracle to me. So I did exactly the same like Mike Oldfield, but I did it when I was only 14 years old, and and gradually I've learned some structures, some basic of these world of prog, because I enjoyed, when I was 14, I really enjoyed Queen and Roxette and such type of music as well. But then I've discovered Camel, uh, and living here, it was this music was not popular at all. Such no prog rock music, and just because I've met some people, because my father was listening to Pink Floyd only, some Genesis stuff, yeah, but Dire Straits, but not Camel. And then when I discovered Camel, it was Mirage album 1974 Mirage, and wow, I was so inspired by it. So I've discovered that prog rock has wider horizons. And first two albums by Camel were Mirage and Stationary Traveler, 1984. And then I've discovered Marillion. Wow. And first album was 1999, Marillion.com. I know a lot of people do not like this album, but wow, to me it was fantastic album. And then I've discovered Fish Era, and wow. And when it was 2000, I was 19 years old. I've bought some pirate versions of Transatlantic and Space Revolver by Flower Kings. Wow! And then I thought, wow, these guys playing proper prog rock nowadays. And when I was 19, I was studying at architectural university, and I've continued. I was composing music as well, so I was practicing, and then I discovered that this music's still alive. So it's not like some music from early beginnings. And I thought, who is Roy Nestold? And there was no internet. Uh, I mean, uh, I couldn't just go and have some internet on my mobile phone. Uh, I went to some internet cafe. We had such places, and I've discovered who is Roy Nestold and who is Neil Morse. And in 2002, I've bought my first computer, and it was very, very, very ordinary and not so powerful machine like now. But it helped me a lot because you can record. It's your own studio on your computer, and I've recorded my first computer album, The Water. I have this in my discography, and then there was a period when I composed and recorded lots of new age stuff, new age, esoteric, enigmatic, easy listening music, or say Gregorian, something like Enigma.
Right.
And I did it because I've earned money with this. I earned money with this music, so that helped me to learn how to work with material, how to produce it, how to mix it, and also I gathered some money to continue with my prog rock ideas. And in 2006, I recorded my first Karfagen album with my guys, and I asked them to help me. So I was pleased to finally to have live band, not only me playing recording, but all these proper musicians, cool musicians.
Yeah,
And
because you had quite a lot of people on that, didn't you? You had
mm,
other keyboard players and piano players, and
mm,
still nylon strung guitars and acoustic guitars and things like that, and flutes as well. I
mm,
mean, we're talking about the album Continuum, the first one from
mhm,
Karl.
mhm,
And what I'd noticed going back through the catalogue
mhm,
is that all of them have got this this sort of wonderful openness, this sort of inspirational type of music. There's not a lot of really hard, dark music on your albums. A lot of them are very, very inspirational and very bright,
Mhm. Mhm.
which I love. And Continuum was an album which I've had to go back to because I sort of got into a lot of your stuff through firstly Echoes from Within Dragon Island, which I thought
Mhm.
was incredible. I mean, I played that quite a lot, and I actually put some of that, as I say, on my show only because it's when I hadn't really heard much from Karfagen before, and I was experiencing a lot of new bands. You know, and one of the great things about having a show is you can experience so many new bands and find out about them. And I didn't realize that you'd gone right back to sort of 2006 with your first album. Um,
Mhm.
and so I started going back and listening to other albums, and I've noticed they will have although they're all sort of open and that sort of thing, they have each album has a sort of distinct vibe to it. How do you get it when you start recording albums? Like, for instance, if you was to start a new album, which I guess you've already done because of the amount of stuff that you produce, but when you start a new album, do you go into it with a concept or an idea, even if it's primarily instrumental? Do you go in with an idea you want to write about something, and then the music flows from that idea?
Mm. I think that in my case, um, I always say to people when they ask me about inspiration and about creating. In my case, like Anton Chekhov, it was a famous Russian writer Anton Chekhov. He say that inspiration comes only when you start working. So
Mm.
usually I have mm, just some sketches, and I just start playing, composing something, and then bit by bit it develops into something that, say, you have all this material, and then 2 months before release date, you say, "Oh, it will be something like this, and or something like that." So it will have this title. So it's not like, "Oh, I will write about Prometheus or say Icarus or something." So it's usually it's unpredictable, and I allow music just flow. It's like lake, it's like river, and then all of a sudden I can see some new places, new lands, and they only then when you spend some time creating, only then you can see some directions that will uh, tell you how you will call this album.
No, I
So,
get that, and it does seem like this sort of the music does seem like a flow of consciousness type of
mm,
thing.
it's like like
I think that's fantastic.
momentary take say momentary lapse of reason by Pink Floyd.
Yeah,
It's just um, for me, to me, a lot of titles, main part of titles, it's just a game of words, so they do not mean so much to you if it's not, say, I very concrete things. So it's like momentary lapse of reason or division bell, or so it's just a nice combination of words.
yeah. So basically, it's just like the music inspires what the packaging is going to be about, what the title's going to be about. One of the things I love about the albums as well is that the the graphics, uh, the paintings that are on
Mhm.
your albums are so sort of in sync with the music. Can you tell us a little bit about how those things, you obviously know a few artists, and you get those artists in to create those album covers. But the album covers are beautiful.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah. Just before our conversation, I had a chat with my painter, my good friend Igor Sokolsky, who is working now on next next album, and he's very talented indeed. And I'm so pleased that I met him in Zaporozhye in Ukraine. He was selling his paintings just in the center of the town, and we met each other. I came to him and I said, "Wow, it will be great if your painting will be on the artwork or on the cover of my album." And he said, "Okay, so let's collaborate." And nowadays, usually I give him some brief ideas of what I want to have on the cover. Like with Spectra. Yeah. Main track of Spectre album is Olympia, and it's about gods, about Poseidon, Aurora, and Dionys. And I said that I want these fragments of these Greece mythology. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So to be there, and also I wanted him to continue this theme with a pyramid from Carfagen 7. So he did fantastic job.
Yeah, I mean they are absolutely beautiful, and talking about that album Spectra, it's sort of become a sort of little bit of a favorite of mine. I think it's because they're within that, especially with that Olympus track,
Mhm.
Zeus and Poseidon, all those sort of things. This is where I think a little bit of the darker side comes in. It seems to be a little bit of a harder edged album than many of the others.
Yeah, mainly because I think it have more rough sound. Uh, it's not so mellow like say previous Carfagen 7, and yeah, it's more rocky, more edgy,
Yeah,
and yeah, and say Olympia is very old track. I've composed it long ago, and so then it was ready to be released just on this album, and it gave this main mood to this album. Yeah, and
and
also
sorry, I was just
yeah,
going to say, is Spectra and the 2020 album that you did, which was the principles and theory of Spectra, are they
yeah, yes,
related in some way?
yes. They were related because main material for these principles I composed during original Spectra sessions. So and principles and theory of Spectra, it always I thought, oh, I will release it now. I will, but then oh, I have some new material. Okay, I will release next year, and then once again some new material, and then I've decided that finally I need to bring it out, to release it.
So
Yeah.
you talked a little bit about influences, things like Camel and Pink Floyd and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
What other influences do you have? Because every so often I get little touches of like Emerson, Lake and Palmer and other
Mm-hmm.
bits and pieces. Is ELP an influence at all?
Honestly, I'm not a big fan of ELP, and if you will ask me, mm, do I listen to them? So no. So it was long ago when I've listened to say Tarkus, and of course it's a masterpiece, but it's not my cup of tea.
Right.
Yeah, I prefer more Tony Banks from Genesis,
Yeah,
and
I can hear that as well. I can hear that as
yeah.
well.
I like his chord structure, his delicate playing, and his ideas. And regarding Spectra, also you can hear influences of I think Antony Phillips.
I was
So
going
I
to say
like
that
his.
there is an element of that as well because
Yeah, yeah.
for a
So
lot of
I
Genesis
like
fans, I
this.
don't think
Yeah,
they really know too much about sort of the Anthony Phillips solo work, but you can hear that in there as well, especially in obviously the
yeah.
acoustic guitars and stuff.
I like these chord structures, and like I think Martin Orford from IQ from JD's. He said that he's not some virtuoso. He can play what he can play, and so it's exactly about me that I'm not some virtuous player, keyboard player. Uh, I can play what I can, but I know that I can compose something very very interesting. So it's not 100 notes per minute per second, but it will be very interesting. That's why uh, I like Tony Banks and say Peter Buttons from Camel. So
Yeah,
and
yeah,
influences, yeah. So nowadays, I feel that I have more Anthony Phillips and some even later Genesis influences.
yeah. Because
I
when I was
like it.
the other evening, I had a bit of not an argument, but I have a difference of opinion with my usual co-host on on the
Mm.
ProgAxia podcast because I'm a massive fan of the Yes album Tales from Topographic Oceans,
Hmm.
and he's not. He doesn't really
Hmm.
quite get it, and I can sort of understand that because it's quite long and all that sort of thing. A side per track and things. I love all that sort of thing, but I really get into it, and I feel that when I'm listening to Karfagen, you had the same sort of approach to maybe Tales in some way, only because it's you put your headphones on, and this is what I suggest people do if they listen to your music: sit in a beanbag, get a glass of wine, stick some headphones on, and get taken somewhere because that's really what you do. It's this because you do quite a few tracks which are the 20-minute marker, um, which sometimes people sort of feel is just too long for a track. And I personally love that sort of thing because you just go away and fly away in
Hmm.
some psychological weird land, and I love that. And I think that's one of the things. If people love that sort of music, then you definitely got to get into Carthage and listen to some of those albums and your solo albums as well. Um,
Hmm.
is something like Tales, has ever been a sort of something which you were trying to emulate, or is it just an influence in the background?
Uh, I'm a big fan of Tales of Topographic Ocean and Relayer. I do not listen to it too much often. Sorry, but Tales I return to this album quite often. And when I was walking with my son Tony, and I can have some time to listen to music, and I was listening not long ago. I was listening to Tales, and wow, it's fantastic album. And yeah, of course, it's inspiration. Yeah, maybe I'm not agree. I do not agree. I will not agree with some beats of this album. Nowadays, I think that maybe it can be a little bit shorter without some psychedelic breaks, and so it will be more like concentrated album. But anyway, it's a matter of taste, but it's cool album, of course.
Yeah, no, wonderful. I mean, just to finish off then, Anthony, I got to ask you about the name Carthagin.
Hmm.
And when we spoke last time, I sort of made sure I was pronouncing it right because I have all these different names and things like that can sometimes get a little bit difficult to pronounce
No,
and stuff. But
that's okay. It can be. Mhm. Sorry. Mhm.
where does that come from? Where does the name Carthagin come from?
Yeah, you can uh, pronounce it like Karfagen. That's okay. I heard some people saying saying like this Karfagen, but Karfagen, yeah, it's okay. So it's Russian spelling, Russian translation of Carthago. So in Russian it will sound like Karfagen. In English, Carthago. So it's then it was my father's idea because he
All
is
right.
huge fan of history and he loves Rome history and he really think that if Rome that it was really uh, cool fact in the whole history, this war between Carthago and Rome. And so, and also he admires of Hannibal of Carthago. So he said that wow, it will be great to have this title, Carthagin, and I used this title straight from say from school. So my first band was Karfagen at school, Carthagin.
Right, Carthage. Okay, because that's Carthage, isn't it? It's the ancient city of Carthage. Is that? It's the same
Ah,
place.
yeah,
Carthage. Yeah,
Carthy. Okay.
yeah,
Cartha-
the ancient Mediterranean city of Carthage, one of
yes, yeah, in Egypt. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
ancient cities. I think that's what it is. I mean, I'm not a massive history history buff, but I think that's where it is. But that's really interesting where it comes from. What have you got coming up? You're obviously recording another album at the moment. Got a title for it yet, or?
Yeah, well, I'm very busy at the moment. So 1 hour ago, I was in my studio, and I have 3 albums now in progress. I have new Sunchild album and almost everything already recorded, and I have Carthagin album, and like with Messages from Afar,
Right.
these 2 albums will complement each other and will be parts of one big story. So it will be Carthagin and Sunchild will be part of one story, and also I've started thinking and I've started composing some parts for my new solo album. So lots of work.
So you're busy, busy, busy. That's what I
Busy,
like.
busy, busy. Yeah,
Lots,
it's my
lots of
life.
lots of
Yeah,
output, which is what we like.
yeah. Music is my life. Yeah. Also, I will help with keyboard recordings to some other musicians. So I have to record some parts for them. So I have some work to do, of course.
That's brilliant. Listen, it's been absolutely fantastic speaking with you. If you want to get a hold of or have a listen to any Carthagin, if you've not heard it before, then definitely go. You've got Bandcamp, so you just search it on Bandcamp, Carthagin. Go and take a listen to
Yes.
it and buy some stuff because we need to support bands like this. Just go and buy some albums. They are absolutely fantastic. I've got my favourites, and I think I'll keep talking about this band. Steve, keep
Great.
putting it
Yeah.
on the show because it's some wonderful music in there and music that got lost in. So listen, Antony, it's absolutely fantastic you joining us. Thanks very much, mate.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.